Jesus, 911, and a birthday party that doesn't exist. The Chrisean Rock situation is getting worse in slow motion. Somebody said quiet on the creek 3 times in a row, like they were casting a spell to keep it that way. Didn't work. Because the woman at the center of this, Chrisean, Holy Hands Malone, Baltimore's most live-stream contradiction, just told the internet she's dialing 911 the next time Jonathan Blueface, Porter breathes near her zip code. And in the same sitting, on the same stream, she said she and that same man are co-hosting their son's 3rd birthday party. Read that twice. She's calling the cops on him and planning a party with him. In one breath. And she wants us to nod along like it's a coherent Tuesday. Nah. Something else is happening here, and it's not spiritual. Y'all already know the vibe. Pull the bell down, tap subscribe. And if you're new, welcome to the corner of YouTube, where we actually read what's in front of us. Stick close, because the deeper you go into this stream, the weirder it gets. Now, before we even touch the transcript, let me set the temperature of the week this stream dropped into, because context is doing a lot of unpaid labor here. This 911 declaration did not land on a quiet timeline. Days before she said it, fan accounts were circulating footage of Chrisean, literally on stage with Blueface, while he performed. And I need you to sit with this. She was spotted grinding on him during the set. Days removed from telling the internet the next time he approaches her she's calling emergency services. So the sequence, in order. Dance on the man, then threaten to call the cops on the man, then announce you're planning a party with the man. That's not a love triangle. That's a love Mobius strip. And it gets better, because while all of this was unfolding, a parallel birthday war was running in the background. Jaden Alexis, the mother of Blueface's other children, publicly claimed Blueface was not invited to their daughter's birthday party that same weekend. Right as Chrisean was telling fans she and Blue were planning Junior's party together. 2 mothers, 2 parties. One man claiming he knows nothing about either. Keep that in your pocket. It's going to matter later. What she actually said. When? Where? August 3rd, 2026. Kick livestream. Chrisean Rock, sitting on camera with her son Chrisean Jr., the toddler now known online as Baby Jesus. Reads off a to-do list she says she made a long time ago. On that list, purchase a car on Kick, purchase a house on Kick, laser remove Blueface tattoos on Kick, repurchase Blueface chains from the pawn shop on Kick, sign with a gospel label on Kick. Every task is on Kick. Then midstream, she pivots into a monologue about how the next time Blueface flies into whatever state she's in, she's calling 911. 20 minutes later, when asked about the boy's upcoming birthday, she says, direct quote, "Me and his father just going to throw a big party." Blueface, filmed the next day, blinked into a camera and said he had no idea what anybody was talking about. I don't think she would want me there, to be honest. This is the same man who, weeks earlier, said on record he doesn't believe he's the biological father of the child. Now watch what happens when you put those pieces on the same table. Let me add some ballast to this section, because the setting itself is a character in this story. Kick, for anybody who's been blessed enough to avoid streamer platform economics, is the platform that built its entire brand on being the place you go when Twitch's rules feel too tight. Looser moderation, bigger revenue splits, chat that runs feral. When Chrisean migrated her daily life there, she wasn't just changing apps. She was moving to a platform where the business model rewards exactly the kind of unscripted volatility she produces naturally. Every emotional swing is a clip. Every clip is a payout. Keep that engine in mind for the rest of this video, because every strange thing she says on that stream makes more sense once you remember where she said it. And the to-do list. I want to camp on this for one more beat before we move, because the list is doing double duty. On its face, it's aspirational journaling, car, house, tattoo removal, chain repurchase, gospel deal. Fine. Vision board stuff. But notice what's embedded in the middle of it. Laser remove Blueface tattoos and repurchase Blueface chains from the pawn shop. In the same list, she's planning to erase the man from her skin and buy back his jewelry. In the same handwriting. That's the whole relationship in 2 bullet points, and she read it out loud like a grocery run. Also, and this is a detail almost nobody clipped, she specified the list was written a long time ago. which means this isn't a reaction to last week's drama. This is a document from an earlier chapter of the saga that she's choosing to read now, 6 weeks before the biggest payday of her career. The timing of reading an old list is itself a decision. Ask yourself why this week. Chrisean, on stream. The sentence that lit the timeline up. The next airport he flies to when I'm there, bro. Next time he does that, I'm going just call 911. Reaction. Honestly, I paused the clip. Because 2 sentences before that she'd said Blueface is the type of person that come find you. So she's already coding the man as a stalker in real time, while also planning to co-host a party with him. Blueface filmed the following day. I don't know. The last thing I seen of her, she said she would call the cops on me. Flat delivery. No performance. Dry. Almost bored. And I want to underline the boredom, because it's load-bearing. This is a man who has been accused of everything short of weather manipulation at this point, and his response to the mother of his alleged child, threatening a police response, was the energy of somebody reading a sandwich menu. 2 reads on that. Either he's genuinely numb to it. 6 years of this will do that. Or he understands something the audience doesn't. That the 911 thread has a shelf life of about 72 hours, and he just has to outwait it. Based on the grinding footage that surfaced days later, he may have been right to be bored. Then there's this one, and this is the one that made me sit up. Chrisean, same stream, talking about Blueface. He's not a villain. He's a victim. I know y'all don't want to hear that part. Okay, so he's a demon she needs to call 911 on, and he's a misunderstood victim. Both true, apparently. At the same time. Real talk, if you're keeping score at home, you already lost. Actually, let me unloose the score for a second, because there is a framework where both statements are sincere. Anybody who's ever watched somebody process a chaotic attachment knows the he's dangerous / she's hurting oscillation is real psychology, not necessarily performance. Trauma bonds talk exactly like this. I'd be dishonest if I didn't put that on the table. But here's where my sympathy hits a wall. This oscillation is happening on a monetized stream, in a branded persona, 6 weeks before a boxing debut. The feelings can be real. The distribution strategy for the feelings is also real. Both. Simultaneously. That's the whole thesis of this video, and we're going to keep proving it. And one more, because this one didn't get half the attention it deserved. She's reading her personal to-do list and casually drops. After my fight September 19th, I'm taking a trip to Jerusalem, and I'm bringing 12 people with me, and I'm paying for everything. 12 people. Jerusalem. Paid for. And in the framed photo, she shows the camera. She's sitting dead center of the group. Silence. I got nothing. Okay, I lied, I got something. Because the quote bank isn't complete without the receipts that didn't come from this stream. The ones that explain why the timeline's trust in both of these people is running on fumes. Receipt 1. February 2025. Chrisean uploaded what she presented as paternity test results to her son's own Instagram account. An account run for a baby, apparently showing Blueface as the father, and she captioned it with the energy of somebody closing a case. A toddler's Instagram being used as a court exhibit. Remember that when we get to the privacy conversation. Receipt 2. March 2026. Blueface sat for an interview and waved what he claimed were DNA results indicating he was not the father. This after the February upload, after the birth, after years of public family life. TMZ ran it. He didn't walk it back that day. Receipt 3. And this one is genuinely unhinged. Blueface's own father got caught on camera allegedly trying to secretly swab Chrisean Jr. for a DNA test without Chrisean's knowledge. The grandfather, running a covert cheek swab op on a 2-year-old. That is not the behavior of a family having a calm disagreement about paperwork. That is a family where paternity has become a contact sport. So when Blueface stood on camera in August 2026 and said, flat as drywall, the last thing I seen of her, she said she would call the cops on me. He was saying it inside a multi-year war where his side had already deployed lab results, a toddler's Instagram, and a stealth swab. Both of these people speak in press releases now, even when they're whispering. Now. And this is where I have to slow down, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. None of this is happening in isolation. Rewind. Way further back than the gossip blogs want to take you. Because the August 3rd stream only makes sense if you understand the machine that produced these two people. 2020, Blueface, already famous off Thociana, already a viral personality whose entire brand was unbothered chaos, launches the Blue Girls Club on OnlyFans, a reality-style house of women competing for his attention. Chrisean Malone, a Baltimore track athlete turned aspiring artist, walks into that house. Within months, she's not a contestant anymore. She's the storyline. Front tooth famously missing, knocked out in an altercation early in the relationship, and she wore that gap like a logo for years. That's the origin story. A relationship born inside a content house, where the cameras never turned off, and the incentives never changed. These two have literally never known a version of their relationship that wasn't being filmed. 2022 through 2026, Zeus Network builds a franchise around them. Chrisean becomes a cornerstone of baddies for 4 seasons, and the couple gets their own spin-off, Blueface and Chrisean. Crazy in Love, which ran multiple seasons documenting exactly what the title promised. Fights, breakups, reunions, arrests. Every episode blurring the line between reality TV and actual reality until the line stopped existing. The audience didn't just watch this relationship. The audience financed it. Every toxic beat had a ratings number attached. September 2023. Chrisean Jr. is born. She live-streamed parts of that chapter too. And the baby's name, Chrisean Jesus Malone, told you the religious branding didn't start in 2026. It started on the birth certificate. August 2024, Blueface goes in. Then the 4-year bid. And here's the part the current coverage keeps skipping. For 2 years, Chrisean built a solo identity. The streams, the fitness pivot, the faith content, the slow rebrand from Blueface chaotic girlfriend to single mother finding God. Whether that growth was genuine or strategic, it was visible. She did the work in public. Blueface was released from that 4-year prison bid earlier this year, ending a sentence that started in August 2024 for a probation violation. Within weeks of that release, footage started circulating of the two of them reunited on a boat, and Chrisean later went on Kick to say the reunion clip was manipulative and that Blueface was working the chat for engagement. Pause on that accusation for 1 second, because it's the most self-aware thing either of them has ever said. She accused him of manufacturing a moment for engagement in a statement she made on her monetized stream, which was clipped and re-uploaded for engagement. It's manipulation allegations all the way down. They're both accusing each other of doing the thing they're both doing, and we're the ones paying the toll. Then came the paternity flip-flop. In late July 2026, Blueface publicly claimed a DNA test showed the child wasn't his. Days later, per the source, he formally confirmed paternity, saying the result was misread. Then, per Complex, he pivoted again, publicly issuing condolences to a man he called Chrisean's actual baby daddy, a man who'd been murdered the year prior. Yes/no. Yes/no. Yes. And when you stretch the timeline out, March denial per TMZ, July denial, July confirmation per the source, August condolences per Complex. That's not a man getting new information. That's a man running AIB tests. Each version of the paternity story gets released, the timeline reacts, the engagement gets measured, and the story gets corrected in whichever direction keeps his name in the cycle longest. Actually, hold on, back up. That's the part. That whole sequence isn't a man confused about a test result. That's a man testing which version of the story monetizes best. And Chrisean's response through all of this? She started the Kick to-do list. She got the makeup line shipment. She locked in her pro boxing debut date, September 19th, 2026, Hyatt Regency, Baltimore, an event she's calling The Supper. The Supper, 12 disciples, Jerusalem after the fight. Photo of her seated in the middle of the group. You feel that? That's not a metaphor she stumbled into. That's a bit she's building. One more weave before we leave this section. Notice what's not on the timeline, any legal filing. For all the 911 talk, no restraining order has been reported. No custody filing has surfaced in the coverage. 2 people whose every move generates paperwork energy. The one kind of document that would actually change the co-parenting arrangement. A court order is conspicuously absent. Everything is being litigated on streams and in comment sections, and nothing is being litigated where it counts. Either both sides' lawyers are earning hazard pay in silence, or neither side actually wants a binding resolution, because a binding resolution ends the content. Draw your own conclusion. I've drawn mine. 3 fragments I couldn't stop looking at. 1. The list itself. Every single line item ends with the same 3 letters. On kick. Purchase car on kick. Purchase house on kick. Sign gospel deal on kick. Not using money I earned from kick. Literally on the platform, on stream, in front of an audience. That's not a financial plan. That's a content pipeline. Every purchase becomes a stream. Every stream becomes a payout. She's not shopping. She's programming. And whether or not that's healthy, it's clever. Let me expand the mechanics, because I don't think people appreciate how sophisticated this actually is. A traditional celebrity buys a house. TMZ photographs it. The celebrity gets $0 from the coverage. Chrisean's model inverts that. The purchase is the product. Buying the car on stream means the car pays for itself in real time. The house tour is a 12-part series. The tattoo removal is a redemption arc with a laser invoice. She's basically running a QVC channel where the merchandise is her own life milestones. Mr. Beast proved to spend money on camera to make money, loop at scale. She's applying the same physics to her actual existence. The concerning part isn't the cleverness. It's that a model like this has no off switch. Once your mortgage is content, you can never stop filming. The audience becomes your co-signer. 2. The credit score bar. She said her credit went from 500 to 800 and told the audience to believe it. I had to read this 3 times. An 800 credit score requires years of clean utilization history and mixed credit, not a kick payout, even if you take her at face value. And allegedly, she wants us to. That's a jump most people don't hit in a decade. So either the numbers are decorative, or somebody's helping her stage manage a redemption arc on the timeline. Neither reads well. And here's why that specific number matters beyond fact-checking fun. A 500 to 800 jump is the perfect redemption metric. It sounds financial literacy impressive to an audience that mostly doesn't know how credit scoring works, and it's unfalsifiable because nobody's pulling her Experian report on stream. It's the ideal claim. Emotionally resonant, technically dubious, legally deniable. If you're scripting a comeback, that's exactly the kind of stat you write in. I'm not calling her a liar. I'm saying the number behaves like set dressing. 3. The son's footage. This is the one I sat with the longest. She's on stream trying to brush the toddler's hair, and the kid is visibly resisting, screaming, twisting, trying to get down. She talks over it. Then, and I want you to hear this exactly how she said it, she says she wants to protect his privacy, after showing him on camera covered in his own diaper accident to prove he eats. Privacy. That word. Applied here. Look, she also confirmed the boy is in speech therapy at her spiritual father Pastor Mike's house, and said she's considering live streaming those sessions once she gets permission. She also mentioned support boots, because his right leg is more flat than the left. The therapy is real. The concern reads real. The impulse to broadcast it is where the wires cross. I need to add one more layer here, and I'm going to be careful with it, because this is a real 3-year-old. The question she asked the audience, should she live stream the speech therapy sessions, is a question with only one right answer. And the fact that it was posed to a chat room at all tells you how far the My Life is a format logic has eaten into the parenting layer. Speech therapy is a clinical setting. The consent of a toddler doesn't exist. Permission from Pastor Mike covers the house, not the ethics. And notice the framing she used for even asking. Denial accusations. The discourse around that clip was literally Chrisean in denial wants to live stream Jr.'s speech therapy, meaning the audience is already litigating her motherhood in the comments while she monetizes the litigation. It's Ouroboros. The criticism generates views. The views generate the behavior being criticized. And zooming all the way out on the forensic lens, there's a 4th fragment I keep turning over. The framed photo. She didn't just mention the Jerusalem trip. She showed a framed photograph of herself seated center frame among her people. Last Supper composition. On camera. On purpose. Props don't appear on streams by accident. Somebody printed that, framed it, placed it within reach. That's pre-production. Whatever else this era is, it is rehearsed. Here's where it gets interesting, because the way this story is being framed depends entirely on who's telling it. The gossip lane outlets, on-site, all about the tea, are running with the contradiction angle. She called 911 on him, then invited him to a party in the same breath. That's the timeline-friendly version. Punchy. Screenshot able. The music press outlets, Complex, The Source, Hip Hop DX, are treating it more like a paternity and release cycle story. Blueface got out. The DNA drama flared. The co-parenting question hasn't been settled. Cleaner. More detached. Less flavor. Then there's the third camp, the fan clip accounts on TikTok and Instagram that are quietly stitching together a completely different read. That Chrisean is deliberately building a religious redemption arc as promotional runway for the September 19th fight. Watch the branding. Holy Hands. The Supper. 12 Disciples. Jerusalem trip immediately after the W. It's not accidental. It's a marketing rollout with scripture as the wrapper. Now let me introduce the fourth camp, the one nobody talks about because it doesn't post much. The actual boxing world. If you look at how the fight is being sold on the ticketing side, it's listed as a full card. Chrisean, Holy Hands, Malone headlining, with real Baltimore fighters like Lorenzo, Truck, Simpson, and Damari Filson underneath. Doors at 5 p.m. at the Hyatt Regency Inner Harbor. And her fighter profile is already live on Triller TV. Listed 1-0 out of West Baltimore. That record line, 100, means this isn't a celebrity exhibition fantasy. There's a commission, a sanctioning body, an undercard of fighters whose careers don't care about her streams. For the boxing ecosystem, the chaos is the promotional budget. Every 911 headline is a ticket sold to somebody who wants to see if the drama shows up in person. The sport has absorbed influencer boxing for years now. This is just the first card where the headliner's personal life is the entire marketing department. And there's a fifth frame worth naming, the Baltimore frame. Hometown press and hometown pages are covering this as a homecoming. Baltimore City native, fighting in Baltimore, at the Inner Harbor. First pro headliner from the city in this lane in a long time. In that frame, the Blueface noise is almost irrelevant. She's the West Baltimore girl who got out, got famous, got dragged, and is coming home with gloves on. That frame is the most forgiving one available to her, and I'd bet money it's the one her team leans on hardest in fight week. Now, the counter-argument I've seen loudest in the comments, and I want to steelman it because it deserves a real answer, is that Chrisean is just publicly working through trauma in real time, that the 911 comment and the birthday party comment aren't a contradiction. They're a woman whose nervous system is negotiating two versions of the same man in the same afternoon. And you know what? On some human level, sure. Domestic adjacent situations do look like that from the inside. Let me steelman it even harder than the comments do. 6 years of a relationship conducted entirely in public. A partner incarcerated for 2 of them. A child with medical questions. A family where grandfathers are allegedly running covert DNA swabs. You put any civilian through that gauntlet without cameras, and they'd contradict themselves hourly. The whiplash between call 911 and we're throwing a party might not be strategy at all. It might just be what a Tuesday looks like inside that attachment. I believe that reading is possible. I genuinely do. But she's not in a therapist's office. She's on Kick. Monetized. With a fight to sell in 6 weeks and a makeup brand shipping units. That distinction matters. And here's the tell that tips me past sympathy into pattern recognition. The contradictions always resolve toward the revenue. She contradicts herself about Blueface, but never about the fight date. She wavers on whether he's a stalker or a victim, but never on whether she's going to Jerusalem with 12 people after her W. The chaos is selectively distributed. Everything monetizable stays consistent. Everything relational stays volatile. That's not a nervous system. That's an editorial calendar, wearing a nervous system's clothes. Allegedly. Here's the read nobody's putting on the record. The mainstream framing is, messy woman, Messier co-parent, chaos as content. Fine. Surface level accurate. But peel that back, this isn't chaos. This is choreography. Chrisean is running a coordinated brand refresh, and religion is the pivot vehicle. Think about the anatomy. An ex-partner who spent 4 years in prison. A public paternity war that made her look destabilized. A child with real developmental questions that turned every live stream into a Child Protective Services thought experiment, and a pro boxing card 6 weeks out from needing to move real tickets in a real venue at $105 to $420 a seat. You cannot sell that fight as the woman the timeline was dragging in July. You can sell that fight as Holy Hands, the boxer walking into the supper, as a redemption story. That's what this whole religious pivot is. And the 9/11 thread isn't a legal filing, it's a plot beat. It resets her narrative posture from back on her ex to victim reclaiming ground. It gives the character an arc heading into September 19th. Let me add the layer that even the choreography theory misses, because there's a reason religion is the specific vehicle and not, say, fitness or sobriety or business mom energy. Religious redemption is the one rebrand framework that is structurally unfalsifiable. You can't fact-check somebody's relationship with God. You can't demand receipts for testimony. The moment the arc is spiritual, every criticism becomes persecution, which, conveniently, is also biblical. They're attacking me because I'm walking in my purpose, is an argument with no countermove. It converts the comment section from a liability into evidence. She's not the first celebrity to figure this out. The gospel pivot after scandal is a playbook older than the internet. But she might be the first to run it natively on a live stream platform where the testimony itself generates hourly revenue. The church and the content farm merged into one entity. Holy Hands LLC, spiritually speaking. And the Holy Hands name itself, clock how clean it is. It's a boxing nickname, a worship reference, and a legal distance move from Blueface girl, all in 2 words. Triller TV lists are under it. The event is billed under it. That's not a nickname anymore. That's an LLC-grade brand asset. Somebody trademarked that energy, even if the paperwork's still pending. Now, the pushback I already hear coming. You're being cynical. She's a real person going through real things. Cool. She can be both. Real trauma and real strategy are not mutually exclusive, and pretending they are is how we keep getting outplayed by artists who understand attention economics better than we do. The Last Supper photo isn't a coincidence. And neither is the Jerusalem trip conveniently scheduled for after the fight. A fight named The Supper. At a hotel on a Saturday, with 12 close family members already framed as her disciples. You cannot script this cleaner than she's scripting it. And she has help. Nobody assembles a run this tight solo. Somebody on that team understands leverage. The whack 100 angle is where it gets pettier. He publicly denied Chrisean and her camp entry to a Baddies USA premiere earlier this year. She later accused him of sending men to Blueface's house. None of that reads like people who are done fighting a business war. It reads like people who are fighting through the kid, through the fight card, through the streams. And let's be precise about what the whack 100 conflict actually is underneath the insults, because it's not personal, it's territorial. Whack is Blueface manager. Every Chrisean headline that attaches her brand to Blueface name is, from a management perspective, unlicensed use of his client's equity. Denying her at the Baddies premiere wasn't petty. Well, it was petty. But it was strategically petty. It was a public signal. Access to this ecosystem runs through me now. Her accusation that he sent men to Blueface's house. An accusation she made publicly, with no charges reported. So we keep it in the allegedly lane where it belongs. Reads like her firing back in the same currency. Narrative pressure. Neither of them is fighting over the relationship. They're fighting over who owns the story of the relationship. The kid, the party, the fight card. Those are just the territories on the map. And the child. The child is the one-line item on the to-do list that can't be scheduled. Watch how the next 6 weeks land. The most likely path. The fight happens September 19th. Chrisean makes weight. The Holy Hands branding sells out mid-tier tickets on the sanctuary of the supper concept, and she posts the Jerusalem trip within 72 hours of the final bell. Blueface stays away from Baltimore that weekend because being there means either co-signing the redemption arc or interrupting it, and neither serves him. Expect a cryptic Blueface tweet the day of the fight, designed to steal the timeline for exactly 45 minutes and no longer. The plot flipper. Blueface shows up to the fight anyway. Not to support, to be seen. And the moment he's in the arena, every camera in that Hyatt is pointed at him, not her. If that happens, the 911 quote comes back on record, and now we're watching an actual scene play out live. Don't be shocked when somebody with a badge is quietly staged near the entrance, because the promoters read the same clips we did. Let me add a scenario nobody's pricing in. The birthday collision. Junior's third birthday and the fight are landing in the same 6-week window. Remember, Jaden Alexis already ran a parallel party storyline the same weekend, with Blueface allegedly uninvited from his daughter's celebration, while Chrisean claimed he was co-hosting Junior's. If Chrisean actually throws that big party she promised on stream, the guest list becomes a media event all by itself. Does Blueface show? Does Waxcam post about it? Does she stream it on Kick? And if so, does the party become a paid broadcast of a 3-year-old's birthday? Every version of that outcome is content, and none of the versions are private. That party, if it happens, will tell us more about the next year of this saga than the fight will. 5-year aftershock. This becomes the case study everyone points to when they talk about how creator-athletes rebranded post-scandal in the late 2020s. The religious arc, the platform-native brand rollout, the fight as narrative climax. It'll get taught. It'll get copied. Poorly. And Chrisean Jr., who's currently 3, will be old enough to Google every clip his mother filmed of him, which is the part nobody in that inner circle is thinking about hard enough right now, because the algorithm doesn't reward that kind of thinking. The one prediction I'll plant with confidence: Blueface fumbles the paternity narrative one more time before the fight, and it costs him whatever public standing he had left going into fall. The DNA carousel already ran 3 times. It'll run a 4th. It always does. And one bonus prediction: lower confidence, higher stakes. The 911 threat never becomes an actual call, but it does become a lyric, a walkout song, or a t-shirt before October, because that's the final stage of this content metabolism. Nothing these two say ever stays a statement. Everything gets processed into merchandise. The threat, the party, the 12 disciples, Jerusalem. All of it is raw inventory waiting for a product page. She wins this news cycle not because she's right, but because she's the only one in the story who understands that in 2026, narrative is inventory, and she's the only one running a warehouse. She wins this news cycle. She's already winning it. We're just late to noticing. That's the read. That's the whole thing. Now, if you made it this far, you already know the drill. Hit that like, tap subscribe, ring the bell, and drop your take in the comments, because I want to know if y'all see the supper choreography the same way I do, or if I'm reaching. Either way, run it back, share it with the group chat that's been arguing about this since Sunday, and I'll see you on the next one.